What's up, family? I wanted to jump on here. Put my seatbelt on so you don't hear that ding ding behind me. I want to jump on here and share a thought that I had. I've been thinking about something I wanted to post and share through video as a word of encouragement as we move further into 2026. I was watching a video of a worship song last night that really confirmed this thought that I had. And in the video, it's of this worship leader, and it was like this worship leader's first public video of worship. And this is a worship leader that I kind of listen to on a regular basis now. But that was their first video that I watched last night. And then I think about, over the last 3, 4, 5 years since they've been out, how they have changed, they have been transformed, and how they have really matured, in worship, as far as leading worship, but also in their maturity as a saint, that is evident in what they're carrying and what you see in the videos. But the thought that came to me was, this worship leader seemed to be ready for their opportunity. They seemed to be ready for that moment when they were going to be called forward. Now, I know this is a real shaky because I'm on this bumpy road, but if you can't look at me, just listen. Some say luck is when preparation meets opportunity. I wouldn't call that luck. I would just call that a divine alignment. But some would say luck is when preparation meets opportunity. Let's just say blessedness or divine alignment is when preparation meets opportunity. Many of us are still in the season of preparation according to God's wills, purposes, and plans. And you can actually get weary. You can actually get weary in preparation and not discern your moment or season of opportunity. I think what I was witnessing last night, because it came to me after it was kind of like cultivating in my heart for a couple days, that we have to be ready for when God calls us to the front. We can't be scrambling. We can't be like, hold on, let me get this. Can't be like, hold on, you can't be like, wait. When he's calling you to the front, when he's calling you to step forward, you actually have to already be prepared. You can't be getting prepared. You can't be almost prepared. You have to be prepared. I think this is very significant for the season that we are in. I believe we are in a deliberate season. I just sense this prophetically, of activation and mobilization. Many of us have been in a season of activation, which is a part of the preparation season. But the mobilization is the season of coming forward, to stepping forth, and coming out of a place of hiding and waiting. And you have to spend your time appropriately. What I liked about what I saw when the Lord was speaking to me about this worship leader was, what we saw is what we got. They weren't trying to be anybody else. They just let who they were shine in the moment when it was their time to step forward. Many times our preparation season is meant to develop who we actually are and not who we want to be. It's meant to form and shape us into God's design and pattern for our personality, for our mannerisms, for our articulation, for everything, for the maturation, for you to release and speak to the audience that he's called you to. This is very important because sometimes we think being prepared is actually mimicking and copying and following, verbatim what we've seen, heard, and witnessed other people do. This is important that we do not falsify the blueprint, the schematics, the plans that God has placed on your life, his actual fingerprint, his DNA. Like, that cannot actually be customized by your ideas, and it has to be organically and originally developed and birthed. We're moving from a time where we are seeing what I would call charismatic clones and religious eunuchs, those who are being cut off if they don't look or sound exactly like who is helping them mature. And also, they're not being birthed, and they're not being formated. They're not being formed to actually produce of their own, to help birth and create on their own. The thing that I think God is really wanting us to step into, looks like I got a turtleneck on. The thing that I believe God is really wanting to bring us into is the revelation that preparation is important. Preparation is important in the season. Just because you prepare don't mean that you're not in faith. I would actually say that your faith is determined by how prepared you are, or how you are preparing for the moment that God is getting ready to bring you forward. When preparation meets opportunity, you actually have limitless opportunities. You have limitless space to actually grow, expand, because it takes, I love this, because I think it's really true. Sometimes what a person actually needs is just one moment and one opportunity. I'm not trying to go 8 Mile on you, but it's true. How many of us have said, man, if I just had my shot, my chance, it would change my life? See, this is what I think. I think the Lord is getting ready to release for us those moments of opportunities, those chances, to where he's going to say, come forward. But he's actually waiting for us to know that we've been truly prepared. And if we haven't, are we taking the necessary steps to be prepared? Are we intentionally focusing on being prepared? Yeah, I really feel and sense that the Lord is getting ready to start, this is how I'm seeing it prophetically, cut some fingers off. Because we've gotten too handsy with things that are not important to him and his heart pertaining to our life. And just because it's a good thing doesn't mean it's a godly thing for your life. What I mean by that, a godly thing is godly, but it might just be good for your life instead of the exact thing that God wants you to focus on and be intentional about. For many of us, there is tons of courses, classes, communities, things that would actually be what we would consider a blessing based on what we know, what we understand about the things of God to our life, but it might not actually be the season, or it might not be the space that God wants us to pour that energy, that effort, and that time into. See, it could be what you're not supposed to be using to be prepared. So what happens after you are prepared and you meet opportunity? What comes after opportunity is responsibility. This is going to be very key, because we hear that kind of term when opportunity meets, when preparedness or preparation meets opportunity. It's like luck, or what I consider a divine lineup. But what happens after you step into that divine assignment is responsibility. And what preparation is doing is actually prepare what is sacred in God's heart pertaining to your life. So you got to go from preparedness to the opportunity to responsibility. And this is where I believe God is bringing us into space of maturation, because it actually doesn't end at the opportunity. It's just a beginning. So if you think about it, the preparation is the beforehand. It's not even quote unquote the start. It is the intro. It is the credits before the movie starts. And once you step into the opportunity, then the film starts rolling, and God is now watching you steward and be responsible for what he has granted you. I think for each and every one of us that's going to see this video, this is a divine opportunity, call, and moment for us to step into the opportunities that God is granting us when the time is right, but also take the mindset that what he gives us is our, or what he opens up to us is our responsibility to steward appropriately. Divine responsibility is going to be what separates you from the fly-by-night ministry, the fly-by-night business, to an actual rooted, grounded, and established staple and foundation of whatever you're carrying in your community, in your region, in your family, whatever might be in the marketplace. We can't just allow the times to pass us by without the intentional purpose of being responsible and stewarding what God is telling us to steward. I didn't expect this video to go to 11 minutes, but let me just finish with this last thought. Don't let your cry for the opportunity end with you receiving what you prayed for. Let your cries echo to the space where you become responsible and a mature person holding what God has given you. Let your cries be, God, you have given this to me, thank you, and I want to steward it to the best of my ability by your counsel and by your wisdom. Let those be the tears that God sees and that are recorded on your behalf. Don't let just be the seasons of the squeezing and the times of pressure that is preparing you for what he's calling you to step forward into be the last time that you weep. Let there be a season of weeping and rejoicing, but also the weeping because the responsibility comes with such a great weight of his presence that you know that it cannot actually be done without his presence, without his alignment, without his recognition. You know, I know God is really breathing on many of us for 2026. This is not cliche, because I know many of us have been really preparing for what God has set aside for us. But when that opportunity comes, don't just let it stay there. Step into it as a woman, a man of God, full of the wisdom, full of the counsel of God, and having the ability to steward and to carry responsibility, not as a child, but as a true son and daughter of the Most High God. I hope you all found this message to be encouraging and helpful. I want to lean more into this because I believe God is getting ready to start releasing people into divine assignments and callings, whether it be seasonal or whether it be for a long duration or haul of time. God bless you, and I hope to hear from you all soon. If you have any thoughts, questions, comments about what I just shared, feel free to make a response video. Feel free to drop something in the text or in the group chat. I love to discuss and dialogue about this. All right. God bless you guys.